Well, we're into 2025 now, and you've probably given up on your New Year's resolutions at this point. So Frank and I have come up with a couple of ways that you could still maybe implement some new things into the new year and discover that new year, new you. So we've got some financial things that'll help you out, some new mindsets and mentalities that'll put you in the right direction as you go through the year this year. So don't worry if you failed on some of those prognostications for 2025 just yet. We've got a few that you can get a second shot at on today's show. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Time Blueprint with Frank Oliver of Oliver Asset Management. Here we break down taxes, income, money, and estate planning, giving you the tools to make informed financial decisions and aim for better retirement outcomes. Your host is financial advisor Frank Oliver, the president and founder of Oliver Asset Management. He's the author of Your Time Is Now, sharing the essentials you need to know to craft a comprehensive and customized retirement plan. Dive in with us as we offer clear strategies and straightforward advice, all designed to empower you in your financial journey. Welcome to the Time Blueprint. Welcome to another episode. Walter Storholt alongside financial advisor Frank Oliver of Oliver Asset Management. And Frank, Happy New Year to you. I guess it's getting a little late to start saying.
I'm going to roll with that all the way through January.
Okay. All right. Well, good.
Exactly.
Well, good. We'll keep that intact until we turn to next month. That's good. So as we teased at the beginning of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about resolutions.
Sure.
But probably the ones that have been given up on.
Prognostications.
Frank liked that
that's
word,
a big word,
by the way. So we'll see if we can replace them, maybe have a little second chance opportunity
Absolutely,
here.
yeah.
Did you set any resolutions this year?
I did not set any resolutions.
You're not a resolutions guy?
No.
Okay.
I think we talked about this before. I try to stay on point throughout the year.
Okay.
That way I don't fall off and then have to make a resolution because then it gets broken anyway, right? So
I used to be that guy. I used to be on board with you, but I recently have changed and I've gotten back into resolutions.
Okay. What's your resolution?
I'm taking advantage of the fact that it's a turn of the year. It's a way to make the brain say, hey, let me do something different this year. So I'm just using it as an opportunity to try and spark
your new
change.
haircut is a nice resolution,
There you
right?
go.
To keep your hair shorter this year?
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I will.
Yes.
Yeah. It was too long last year. So actually, I'll get to my resolution in a moment. It has to do with our first bullet point today.
Okay.
Because it actually was my number one resolution this year.
Okay.
So the old you in 2024 might have been overspending and living beyond your means. The new you might look like living on a budget or at least trying to trim where there's excess and opportunity.
Sure. Living within your means.
Yes.
Absolutely. We do see that quite a bit coming into the office. And I think the best way to overcome that is just create a budget for yourself.
Yeah.
Look at a budget. Just figure out what your necessary expenses are.
Yeah.
And if you have some money left over at the end of the month and you want to have a little bit of fun, by all means, life is life. You want to enjoy life, right?
Yeah.
Life cannot be total discipline every single day, or you're going to burn yourself out.
Right.
But once your needs are satisfied, and then and only then, when you have some discretionary income left over, then go enjoy yourself a little bit. Make sure you're putting enough in savings, putting enough in retirement, paying your bills. I think in a lot of situations, a lot of cases, I see people putting fun in front of necessary, and that's where you get into trouble. Right?
Yeah.
You can't, there's nothing wrong with having fun, but you got to get the necessities taken care of first.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're pretty good at saving, but we're also pretty good at spending.
Sure.
And
a lot of people are.
I was sensing that we were overspending. So for the last couple of years, I've been wanting to do a little bit deeper dive into the actual spending habits.
Okay, good.
Been putting it off, but I finally made a resolution this year to do it. So on January 1st, while we were watching college football games,
you were doing a budget during college football.
I had the laptop out and I was going item by item through every expense of the year, putting them in categories to see what the spending was. And the interesting thing was that I was overspending on things that I didn't even really, maybe I kind of knew it, but I didn't think that would be where I'd put my attention and focus.
Really?
I was thinking more like, okay, how can we trim on the gas bill and the electric bill and get these kinds of things down? But then after looking at it, I was like, oh, those make up a very small portion of spending actually throughout the year.
And those are necessities.
And those are necessities.
Right?
And
it's tough to cut those
how
out.
much effort expenditure would there be to trim that bill by $10, $20 a month?
And is that going to make it would
make a difference?
But is it going to make a big difference in your life?
Not huge.
No. It's
so it was the coffees, it's the going out to eat, it's those kinds of things. But it was eye-opening to see just how much we were putting in there. and realizing, oh my gosh, we could cut that in half and still have a lot of fun.
Right.
And so
Sure.
we identified several categories where with minimal effort, we could make big differences.
Good for you.
And so that's our goal for the year, is to put those things in place and still have just as much fun with less expenses.
Yeah, we had some clients in the other yesterday, actually, and we were going through their budget because they want to retire in about 5 years. And they're a little worried about it, and I think they're on pace. I think they're on track for retirement. But we're trying to figure out their budget, and honestly, their cash flow analysis shows that they have $50,000 a year in discretionary income. And they're shaking their heads saying, there's no way. We have no idea where that money's going.
Yeah.
And so we went through their budget, and honestly, they felt that everything looked pretty accurate. Yeah. So what I asked them to do, and my wife does all the bill paying, but I know that I've done this in the past several years ago, is at the end of the year, I think some credit card companies will itemize your annual expenses in different categories. So you can take that, divide it by 12, put it into our budget analysis, and actually see where you are overspending. But that might not be a bad way to do it. So I have 2 credit cards. I have personal and I have business.
Yeah.
So it's real easy to itemize everything that we spend. I don't spend cash. I'm weird like that. I'm a credit card guy because I like to itemize it and track it.
People are like that now.
Yeah.
I'm the same way for sure.
Yeah.
You just have to be careful sometimes what those automated programs will do. When I was going kind of item by item just to take a peek this year to do that deep dive, I noticed it was putting some things in some odd categories.
You do got to be careful of that for sure.
It was like airport parking was labeled as dog food.
I don't see the problem. But I don't have a dog.
There you go. That'd be an easy one to spot for you. Exactly. Meanwhile, I'd be like, wow, we're spending a lot on this little dog. My goodness.
Right.
All right. So there's a chance to take the old you and turn it into a new you if you put some maybe resolutions in that vicinity of not overspending in 2025.
Yep.
All right. What about a second chance on this one, Frank? If the old you was to save to a fault and be the opposite of what we were just talking about, never enjoying life a little bit.
Right.
Is that worth exploring a new you in 2025?
It's interesting. These 2 topics were both of my meetings yesterday in the office.
Really?
Yep.
So you had one on one end and one on the other.
Exactly. I had a couple that the husband had just retired. They have saved over $500,000. They've done fairly well, and they're very, very conservative, very modest. And they took a cruise. And then at the end of the cruise, they tried to get you to sign up for another one. If you sign up then, they'll discount it by like 15 or 20%. So it's a pretty big savings if you sign up for the cruise right then.
Makes sense.
And so I asked him what they're going to do because I think the wife's going to work for another 6 months. And he's like, I don't know. I just don't think we can afford to travel. I don't think we can afford to do anything else. And so I looked at their retirement plan, their budget, their Social Security, and the assets that they have. They could take 3 cruises a year for the rest of their life and be absolutely just fine.
Wow.
But they have no idea, and they're scared to death. So I kind of went through a little coaching session with them and showed them their retirement plan, showed them the assets, showed them their cash flow analysis, and said, you guys have sacrificed for 40 years to save this money. You sacrificed. I think it's okay if you go out and just, responsibly and strategically enjoy some of these assets.
Sometimes people just need permission.
I have that conversation so often with folks that have been so great at saving their assets, so great at saving their money. And it's really difficult. And I actually had the word I brought out was you feel irresponsible to spend that money, don't you? And they're like, oh my gosh, you have no idea, Frank. And I'm like, well, that's where a good financial plan, a good retirement plan will make you feel responsible about enjoying your sacrifices.
Yeah.
And I could see a smile come over their face. So I do see people have a really tough time with that. So
we've got some more New Year's resolution replacements coming up on the episode today. But if you are looking to get a financial plan in place, maybe you need that help of pulling back or the reality check to say, hey, you can go, you can actually spend a little bit and go forward. So the coaching either direction is very valuable.
Sure.
Or we didn't talk about a third category, but hey, you're doing great and keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Sometimes that thumbs up is helpful. You can book a time with Frank and discuss your financial situation. Go through a review of your financial plan by going to oliverassetmanagement.com. We've got other contact information in the description of today's show, but you can go through a strategy session in person with Frank in the office or online, whatever suits you, and get on the right path for your financial future. All right, let's hit another new year, new you kind of mentality here, Frank. And that would be if you don't know how much you have or where it is. This is kind of taking stock of what you really have in your portfolio. And surprisingly, a lot of people don't do that.
Do you have a bug in my office? are you secretly listening in on all of my meetings? Right?
Compliance won't like that, Frank.
No.
We have to be let's be very clear. Right. No bugs in the office.
No bugs in the office, exactly. And I was talking about an electronic bug. Maybe it was just a cockroach or something in there, right? Yeah. We do run across that quite a bit.
Okay.
I had I had a farmer pass away, and the wife had no idea how much they had in assets. And it was quite revealing to her when we actually looked through everything that they, have accomplished in their life.
And that's got to be a scary first meeting for somebody like that. Right?
It was.
Like,
it was.
I'm going through this big emotional thing,
Yes.
and I don't know if I'm okay or not.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have folks come in where, we'll build the financial plan and we'll put all their assets on the asset tab. And then they'll come back in for their second meeting or their next review. And they're like, well, where are the bank accounts that we have? And, where's that Fidelity account? And where's the Charles Schwab account? It's like, well, this is what you told me last time. Like, oh, no, we found some other money. We found other money. Right?
I forgot about this thing. Yeah.
I lifted up the mattress and found some other statements, know? So,
that job that I had at the beginning of my career, and I forgot about
the 401k.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, it's really important to know where your money is.
Yeah.
And it's good to know what it's doing, because
people, I think, are scared to look because they think it's going to be bad news. But from the stories you've told me over the years, it's usually good news when they look.
Honestly, people kind of forget about that old 401k. It does grow, but it's good to know where those assets are. You don't want to lose track of your money.
And then if you have a situation where you're not invested properly in one of those, you can fix that versus just kicking the problem down the road further.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Another good change you can make in 2025 there. Now, there's this mentality, and we saw this a lot in 2024. So this is definitely a good one, I think, to switch in 2025. People wanting to pause their investments until things settle down. We had a volatile political year last year, and if anyone thinks that's going to change in the future, I don't think that's going to happen. So if people are still feeling this sense of wanting to back away or pause until things settle down, how can we speak wisdom to that?
Yeah, we got some charts that we try to show clients that are worried about, the political climate that we're in, or geopolitical climates that we're in, or the pandemic that we went through. And one of these charts showed that if you miss the best 10 days of the markets, over an annual period, the drastic change that has in your portfolio. Or if you miss the best 20 days or 30 days, and then you take that over 10 years and you miss the best 100 days of the market, it's absolutely astonishing. It's a 10x difference.
Yeah.
So trying to time the markets, and we talk about this all the time, trying to time the markets is a very, very dangerous thing to do. If you want to rebalance a portfolio and maybe go into a little more conservative position, but don't pull out of the market, don't put everything on pause. And honestly, if the markets are volatile, that's the absolute best time to make contributions. That's the best time to invest. There are a lot of people, including myself, that did very well during the pandemic because if the pandemic would have wiped us out, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, right?
Right.
But the fact that it didn't, and the markets had the best V-shaped recovery in history, was very, very beneficial. So volatile markets can be very, very positive.
Yeah, absolutely. So, lots of good lessons from there for sure that we can apply moving forward.
Sure.
Last but not least, we'll wrap it up on this one, Frank. No financial plan might have been the old me and just kind of hoping for the best.
Right.
This one is an easy one to fix in 25, right?
And this is very common. I tell people this. We do a lot of educational workshops, and everybody that comes into the office that's interviewing us, I mention this on a regular basis, that I rarely see, if ever, a true financial plan come through my door.
Okay.
They'll have a 401k statement, they'll have a bank statement, they'll have a life insurance statement, but to have a true financial plan, looking at cash flow analysis, when you're going to elect Social Security, what your tax situation is, should I do Roth conversions, how long my money will last based on a certain rate of return, how much am I going to have left to give to the kids? I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
So they might have a piece or two of that, but not the whole thing.
But having a true financial plan is absolutely crucial. And I think that's probably the crux of our business. And I think that's why we've been so successful, is people get a higher level of service and a higher level of value. And I think that financial plan makes them feel very empowered that they have control over their financial life now. So, and it's not climbing Mount Everest.
Yeah.
We're not jumping out of an airplane. It's, we do all the work for you, just provide us with the data, but it's incredibly empowering to have a financial plan.
Yeah. So. Well, if any of this resonates with you, if you feel like you had some bad habits financially in 2024, you want to fix them in 2025. If you need some assistance doing that, getting a plan in place is going to align all of those different things. Frank and his team will help coach you through all of it and walk you through that planning process. So if you'd like to meet for a review, see where you are right now financially, how you can improve your situation moving throughout this year and beyond, all you have to do is give Frank a call. 720-897-TIME is the number. We've got that on the screen and in the description of today's show as well, and always online at oliverassetmanagement.com. Frank, thanks for the help.
Thank you, Walter.
All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching today's episode on YouTube. It helps out the channel, and we'll see you again next time right back here on the Time Blueprint Podcast.
Thank you.
Investment advisory services offered through Creative One Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. Oliver Asset Management and Creative One Wealth are unaffiliated entities. Licensed insurance professional. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as advice or a recommendation for your specific circumstances. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Insurance product guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing company. We are not affiliated with any government agency and do not provide tax or legal advice.